Proper rowing technique requires many large muscle groups working in synergy, which is why it is hands down one of my favourite forms of cardio, especially for zone 3, 4 and 5. The rowing stroke is made up of 4 phases: the catch, the drive, the finish, and the recovery. The rowing stroke begins from the catch position. So here you'll notice that we've got ankle flexion, knee flexion, and hip flexion, and the arms are straight out in front. Take note of the distance from the seat to my heels in the catch position. You don't want the seat coming all the way up to your heels, because we want to load the posterior chain so that the hamstrings and glutes are in a mechanical position to drive. When it comes to rowing technique, there are 3 main body segments to focus on: legs, hips, and arms. From the catch position, the first thing you're going to do is initiate the drive phase by straightening your legs and pushing the machine away while driving your heels into the foot pads. During your leg drive, your handle and seat should move in sync. Notice how I have a slight forward lean at the catch, and then during my leg drive, I try to maintain the forward lean throughout the first half of the drive. The second part of the drive phase is where the hip joint begins to change angle from a slight forward lean to a slight lean back. And finally, the third part of the drive phase is where you begin to pull with your arms and bring the handle towards the bottom part of your sternum. You should only begin to pull with your arms once the handle has passed your knees. So on the drive phase, the stroke begins with a leg drive, then a slight lean back, and finally the arms come to your chest. And then in the recovery phase, as you make your way back to the catch position, you reverse the motion. So your arms go first, then a slight lean forward at the hips, and then when the handle passes your knees, you can bend your knees. You want to maintain a nice straight level chain throughout the full stroke. If you bend your knees too early during the recovery phase, it will force you to have to lift your hands over your knees, which makes it impossible to maintain a straight level chain throughout the stroke. So remember, only bend your knees once the handle has passed the point of your knees and you've created a window between your arms for your knees to poke through. It's also very important to note, you don't need to rush the recovery phase. Take your time to get back to the catch, make sure that you're in good positioning so that you can create a powerful leg drive. So here is an example of bad rowing technique, which unfortunately I see a lot of in the gym. As you can see in the catch position, the seat is far too close to my heels and there's no forward lean of the torso. Then the arms begin to pull way too early in the drive, and before they even reach the end of the stroke, my knees are bending and my seat is on its way back towards the catch position, which means that my stroke is much shorter than it could be, and I have to lift my hands over my knees to get back to the catch, which is inefficient and bounces the chain around. And finally, the last thing to note is that you do not have to maintain a straight back during rowing. It is perfectly safe to have some rounding through your back, and the reason for this is because this exercise is not loaded axially, meaning there's no weight pushing down through your spine, but rather the line of force is pulling you forward and is horizontal to your spine. I hope this video helped you to better understand the rowing stroke, which will guarantee that your workouts only get better and better.